Welcome to Hodge Podge Australia. Today we're making a Smiggle Pencil Case Cake based on Smiggle pencil cases. Smiggle is a big popular brand here in Australia. I believe it's in New Zealand and the UK as well. Kids just love them. What you need is a long rectangle cake, a cake board and some buttercream, which I have tinted in a nice blue. You can check out the link to my buttercream recipe just popping up there for you now. The first thing to do is put a little bit of buttercream onto your cake board so that your cake is going to stick. Then you are going to want to grab yourself a knife and cut that cake in half. If you want to be precise, you can measure it, but I go by eye, and thankfully it worked out. Now take 1/2 of your cake. I prefer to take the flatter side of the rectangle cake and place it upside down with the straight edge at the back, because that's going to be the back of your pencil case. Then add a layer of buttercream into the middle so you have a lovely section of buttercream when you cut into it. Then place your other top half or your other half onto the top of your cake, again matching up the flat ends of your cake. It's then time to crumb coat your cake, so give it a really good layer. Make sure it is nice and smooth on the top because we're going to add some accents afterwards, but crumb coat that all the way around your sides and the top. Don't refrigerate it yet, that's our crumb coated cake, but you can see I have split the buttercream into 3 different piping bags with 3 different tips. I have 3 round tips, a large round tip, sort of a medium round tip, and a fine tip. We don't need this one right now, so we're going to put that aside for later and we'll come back to it. But what we're going to do is we're going to start off by adding some dots onto our crumb coated cake. This is so that these dots are going to harden in the fridge with the rest of the cake, and when we cover it in fondant we will then get that bubble effect on the pencil case tip. So just using the round tips, you can see I'm going to zoom in there so you get a better idea of what I'm doing and you can see it better. I'm just placing some different size dots around the cake. Now it does help if you have a picture in your head, or you know what this pencil case looks like, so you can sort of emulate where the dots are going to be. I have a picture to the side so I can put them where I believe they're going to go, and I'm just going to differentiate between large dots and small dots around the cake. But you will notice that I've left that middle section clear, and that is because we're going to put the writing there. Just smooth down the tips on all of those bumps and then pop it in the fridge to harden. Next, roll out some blue fondant. I've got some really lovely vibrant blue. Now I know that the normal pencil case I showed you is a bit of a lighter blue, just like the buttercream, but I love this vibrant blue fondant, so I'm going to use that for my pencil case. And that's great about cakes, is you can tailor them to your specifications. So simply lay your fondant over the cake and then smooth your fingers around in between all of those bubbles. You're going to want to make sure that they are defined, otherwise what was the point in putting them there and it just looks like you've left a lump. So make sure you get in there and push the fondant all the way around each of those bubbles. Then smooth the fondant around the sides of your cake. It's time to cut off the excess once you're happy with that, so cut down to the sides. Don't cut right against the cake, cut a little bit out from the cake, and then once you have pulled away your excess fondant, use your knife to tuck the extra fondant back up under the cake. It's really good that we didn't level it so that it's sitting flush with the board, because you can tuck it up under with a knife, which you'll see in a second, and it gives you that effect of a proper pencil case, because they're not flush on the ground. These ones aren't. They're a sort of an oval shape, so they do sit up a bit. So you want to be able to have that effect. So as you can see there, I'm just using the knife to push that fondant back up and underneath the cake. And there are our bubbles underneath the fondant. So this is a great way to add different accents to your cakes. The next thing we need to do is add that zipper around the side of our Smiggle Pencil Case Cake. So grab some, well, just another colour, but I love the pink, and again this is a really hot pink, which is a great pink. So roll this out into a really long sausage so that it's going to wrap all the way around your cake. But when I say that it doesn't wrap all the way around your cake, it starts from one side of the back and goes around to the other side. There is a gap at the back, obviously, so that when you unzip a pencil case it's going to open up and not fall apart. But that's just getting sidetracked, so roll that out into a nice long sausage. Once you have that done, grab yourself a little rolling pin and just flatten it out so that it's all the same width. You can do that by using your fingers there to push it back into shape so that you get it all a nice long width. You don't want it too wide because the zipper's not going to be that wide, it'll take over the entire cake. But you want it all to be nice and flat, just like a zipper would be on the side of that cake. Now, as I mentioned, the zipper just starts on one end around the back, so just place it onto the cake and wrap it around the side until you get it around the other edge. And goodness me, is my framing fantastic in this cake. Well done, Erin. Everyone can see exactly what you're doing. But there you can see I've wrapped the zip around the outside of my cake. It's now time to write Smiggle on the top of our cake. So just using that small piping tip and using the logo as my guide, I'm going to write Smiggle onto the cake, complete with the squiggly part above the eye. I like the squiggly part. And the last thing to do is make some zippers for our pencil case so that it can be opened. So let's cut out 3 rectangles and then cut one of those rectangles in half so that you have a square, which we're going to turn into the little ribbed part of the buckle. Using your knife, just put in a faint line right down the middle of your pink fondant. You could do this before you put it on, but you may smudge it when you're putting it on, so I like to do it afterwards. And that's just to signify the zip opening. Then grabbing 2 of your rectangles, just cut the edges off at the top so it kind of looks like a tag, and I guess that's the zip. If you want to be really detailed, you can cut a couple of little squares out of that to be your zippers, but that's really fiddly for me. So I'm going to roll my square out into a sausage. There you can see I've cut in half and then I've shaped it into a hook for our zip. I'm going to add a little bit of water to the side. I'm going to put my zip on the side. You could put it right down in the front if you'd like, but I like mine on the side. And there's that framing again. Good job, Erin. But put that hook onto your fondant with a little bit of water. It can be a bit tricky because it's little and it gets stuck to your fingers, but just persevere, you'll get there. You could always put some corn flour on your fingers so that it's not as sticky. Put your little buckles onto the cake and then just stick your zipper tags with the cut section at the top down on the other side so it looks like it's all joined. And just use your knife to pat them in nice and close so that it looks like it's all one big combined section of the zipper, which you can see there when it focuses. Yes, there it is. There's our zipper on the side of our Smiggle Pencil Case Cake. If you have kids like me that are wild for Smiggle, then they are going to love this cake. Make sure you give us a big thumbs up, subscribe to us here at Hodge Podge Australia, and we will see you again real soon.